Hi, my name is Yuratzia Escareno, and for my nutrition research project, I did how eating disorders affect the cardiovascular system. The importance of this project is to understand heart rate slowing down and increasing through your nutrition, anorexia, which is due to restriction to avoid gaining weight, binging disorder, which is overconsumption that causes people to vomit or take laxatives, which means that people tend to not eat in the morning or throughout the day and then start overeating at night. I wanted to do this project to understand how food can affect your heart since it is a part of our everyday. And I found that 6 through 45% of females experience eating disorders, and around 0 to 19% of males experience eating disorders. And it's about because not everyone says when they actually have problems when eating food. For anorexia, you need to understand HRV, which is heart rate vulnerability, which means time between beats. The MDPI Association of Science found that R squared equals 0.658, which was the research that showed that the control over emotion with anorexia caused severe anxiety. And this helped show overall recovery of the heart by handling stress when under pressure while eating, because people want to avoid eating food. This research showed that the fight or flight nervous system, which is the sympathetic nervous system, tells the heart to beat faster, in which causes people with anorexia to have a lot of heartbeats, and this can cause high blood pressure and sometimes hypertension. In both anorexia and binging disorders, it was found to show that the HRV system basically showed that high blood pressure is common and can cause hypertension in athletes, which 33% of athletes experience high blood pressure, and recovery within the heart takes longer with an eating disorder such as anorexia, because it takes longer to recover for when you're training. As shown on the picture to your right, you can see that stress impact within the heart means that it takes longer to recover for your body to be fully active and heal. So this means that recovery within the heart with an eating disorder such as anorexia can cause a longer recovery time, and factors such as sleep, sickness, mental health, and other things can affect this stress, but eating disorders can also affect it too. And 33% of athletes experience high blood pressure when having eating disorders, and that can cause hypertension and other factors within the heart. As for binging disorders, MDPI Association of Science also found that R squared equals 0.34, which showed an anxiety rate within binging disorder that caused a control over emotions with anxiety. And binging disorder also showed a loss of consciousness with a high BMI shown through heart rate levels. So this means that your heart rate would go really high after a binging session when you're overeating, because blood flow would increase when binging, and the body demands more blood while you're digesting food, which can cause a demand for high heartbeat. HRV increase within binging disorders also showed recovery in the body, such the same as anorexia did. And this showed that on the right, you can see a photo of what it shows when your heart is trying to beat. And this would actually have an effect when having any eating disorder. So your heart keeping up with nutrition intake can cause a fast heartbeat, and it is also with the fight or flight nervous system affecting emotional imbalance in HRV to be disrupted. And with nutrition, binging disorders, and anorexia. With binging disorders was seeking help to prevent overeating, intuitive eating, which is not restricting but being mindful of what you are intaking, having time set when to eat, and understanding seeking help. And for anorexia, it's basically the same thing for both. antidepressants, medication for anxiety, group, personal, and family therapy, having time set to eat and understand when seeking help. But also, nutrition has an effect on the heart with what you are giving yourself. So it's better to focus on whole foods, fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and better to eat unprocessed foods and avoiding tropical oils, processed foods, added sugars, too much salt. And it's also important to know that if you have an eating disorder, it's important that it's better to eat than not eat at all. And for my overall of this project, I found that your nutrition has an effect on your cardiovascular system through high blood pressure, energy with recovery time, being drained when training for athletes. People with eating disorders are also at higher risk of T-wave flattering, which is just your heartbeat just going way faster than it's supposed to. And the main one is probably anxiety, because most people do show anxiety with your heart while it's beating fast. So I found that to be a very major thing when you have an eating disorder and how it affects your heart. Complications within our hearts can also happen, such as chest pain, short breath, lack of energy, and nosebleeds. So it is important to understand what you are eating and to seek help if you have an eating disorder. And that was my overall project, and thank you